There are only 3 families in Australia that have lost 4 sons at war, but the Watherstons are the only family where they all died on the battlefront. I first became interested in the Watherston family story when I found 2 Supreme Sacrifice plaques at an auction. They were for Cyril and Edward Watherston. I tracked them down and the story took me to Boston Island where they grew up. Frank died at Knife Ridge. He arrived in Cairo and he was wounded severely in late June of that year, 1915. And poor old Frank got hit with machine gun burst moving forward, which smashed his rifle. And he was told to get back to the trench lines. And he turned to run and got shot in the legs, so he had all 4 limbs machine gunned. He was left for a few hours on the beach, lying in donkey, mule and horse dung, and he contacted tetanus. He died 4 days later in hospital. Cyril died next. He was taking gear up to the front line near Armentières, and a speculative shell came across from the German artillery and blew up his little convoy. He was killed. He was picked up by French civilians and buried the same day, so we know exactly within metres where he was probably killed. Edward also died in France, just 15 kilometres from where Cyril was killed. A high explosive shell blew overhead and Edward disappeared completely. Nothing was found, not even a button. So they knew that Edward was dead. By the time James is ready to go into battle, he already knows that all of his brothers are gone. And there's a lot of anecdotal evidence from the family to say he was in a dreadful state, psychologically. Nevertheless, he attacked with the rest of the men of the 11th Battalion, and he was shot and killed by machine gun fire. So you can imagine the family at home who was dead. Surely not all of them. They must have it mixed up. Oh, they're probably captured by the Germans, or who knows where they are, but it can't be all of them. Cousin Sydney and Thomas were also killed. The only surviving Watherstone son, Robert, who was too old to enlist, was heartbroken. At the point in time when the last brother died, he then left and went up north, boundary riding for a cattle company, and stayed in the outback for the rest of his life. Never married. Heartbroken. The story captivated me because it was an unknown story, and I felt angry in a sense that such a story had been lost in history, and people I spoke to had no idea. Even some of the family members were vague. And over the years, having spoken to many of them and obtained the anecdotal stories, the whole saga came into being.